Yo, what up, squad? We're out here in Pula, Croatia, and with Gary Lim, Gavin, Dantez, Sebastian, Yakir, and Rasmus. We're chilling. We just had a really dope conversation while we're chilling at a coffee shop or outside. And drinking coffee. And we decided to bust out the mics. So here we are.
Thanks for having us on, man. Yeah, man, it was just like we're sitting here having the deepest conversation, flowing. Why not have the mics on so someone can be just sitting next to us here in the cafe in their mind, you know? I'm always something, right there, you know? So for me, I'm always wanting to be that fly on the wall in these conversations. That's what I always used to be. I'm like, what if I could hang out with people who are building successful entrepreneurial businesses, people who are traveling the world, doing all these things I want. What if I could just be a part of their conversation, be that fly on the wall? So that's what
man. And we were touching on some really deep stuff there because they're like Mindvalley just had its closing ceremony. We've been out here for a month doing different classes and everything at Mindvalley University. And the founder of Mindvalley Vision just gave a really awesome closing ceremony for me, which was super inspiring, just kind of to see what his vision is for this company and how he wants to change the world through the workmanship within this company. And and I'm super stoked and super pumped to like know dope ass dudes like you guys who we can collaborate with and work together to build something huge.
Exactly. So for me, what I really like about Mindvalley is the fact that the vision, he knows what he really wants in his life, and he built a company and a lifestyle that is in alignment with what he really wants, which is what I really respect in him, because I see that in myself as well. I want to be able to get to that point in my life where I have these values in mind, which is freedom, purpose, and empathy. And then afterwards, it's building a business, building a lifestyle, building a relationship, and having friends that is in alignment with that, that particular values that I have. And what I really like about Vision is, for him, it's unity, and he built a lifestyle. He's able to have like relationships and people around him that just is in alignment with the kind of person that he is. So I realized that to actually get to where he's at, to where someone who is living very fulfilled and living like a very purposeful life, is to firstly get clear on the values that you have in your life, right? Get clear on the person that you are and the particular values that you are, whether consciously or unconsciously, embodying. So for me, I realized that everything in my life up to this point, it has been trying to embody these three values, which is number one, trying to be more free in my life. It's like, okay, cool. Why do you want to build a business? Why do you want to make more money? Because number one, you probably want to have more freedom. You want to be able to travel, and you probably want to have more status. I realized that for me, I wanted to have more status. And why do you want to have more status? Because you want to feel like you're enough. You want to feel free. Everything comes back to freedom. You want to be more free. You want to be more free in the world. And why do you want to have purpose? For me, it's because I realized that having purpose, especially as a man, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys resonate with, is when you have a sense of purpose, you have a sense of direction, and probably like Gavin, you are like so. When I look at you, I just feel like, man, this man's on a fucking mission, and it just made me realize that, wow, that's the kind of place that I want to be at when I'm 28 years old. Hopefully, I want to feel like so grounded in myself. I want to have like a sense of purpose, and it just resonates with me and my core. So, Gavin, what do you feel about whatever I just said?
Yeah, man. Well, 100%. One thing you just said before was, you're so energized when you're on your purpose, right? There's this one quote that I always think about, which is, you're not too tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're doing too little of what actually lights you up.
Right.
Because I know when I do more of my purpose, I get more energy. And I know if I just work hard on something that is like against my values, even if I don't even work that hard on it, just a little, I start to get drained. And you see it on these guys like Gary Vee, who are just like, they're so fueled all the time. And it's because they're fully in alignment with who they believe they are, at least. And they feel that constant flow of their purpose. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah, purpose is though, like, it's like an onion. You keep peeling back layer after layer.
I love that, man. I love that.
I'm 34 years old now. I've been trying to like move into this direction for the last 8 years. And every year you pull back more layers, and some years you take like 5 steps back to take 1 step forward, and it's just this constant process to find that core. Like, what's that core? And now I've really felt like I've started to get closer and closer to that. And yeah, people will say that to me now. Your eyes are lit up.
Exactly. That's what I feel in you. When I look at you, I'm just like, fuck.
But it's a journey. Like, it's not, you write down just, this is great to start. You write down your values, write these, and you start to see more of what you want.
You can feel it too, man. You can feel that energy. Where does that energy lie? What is filling up your cup, and what ideas fill up your cup?
Yeah, and it's a constant feedback loop. And then it speeds up, so I look at it like a pendulum. You like swing back and forth. Sometimes I swing over to the esoteric side with plant medicine.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go into the super hardcore grounded marketing side, and it's just like achieving in the physical.
Yeah.
And then that feedback loop goes faster and faster, and the pendulum gets smaller and smaller. So oscillating quicker and quicker in alignment with that goal. You know, so it's like here as you're moving forward, and then you're like. That was a hard example to give for someone who wasn't watching.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. That's amazing.
One thing, maybe a perspective of age and all that, because I see you're quite young, man. And it's also what I hear a lot here in these conversations is a lot of fire.
Yeah.
Fire. Let's get that purpose out and like put things into the world. A lot of earth. Let's make it real and make feel that in the real world. And this is great. We have fire and earth, but that burns.
I agree. So for me, right, I've been on the other side the past few months. I've been like the guy who just fucking meditates, man. I just want to get high on life, bro. I went to the ayahuasca retreat, cleanse out, detox, feeling that love, man. And I realized that I've been in that space for way too long, man. I've been in that space for like the past 6 months, and right now I'm like, fuck, man. I'm feeling that, but then something is missing. And I listen to Buddha a lot, and I love Buddha, right? Buddha is one of like my role models in my life, and he said that, you can't go too much in like the spiritual world, and you can't be too much in the material world. Like, well, you gotta find a balance between spirituality and the material, and that's where you find like truth of human, at least like in his words. Because for him, right, when he first started out in his own journey toward enlightenment, right, he actually started out by being like he went super hardcore, man. The guy's insane, he stripped himself off food. He was like a prince, and he just, left his kingdom, it's fucking crazy. He left out everything, he destroyed his own identity. And he went into this phase where he was really like, seeking the truth, and he became really skinny. He said like he didn't eat for like, I don't know how many days, like didn't eat for like, I don't know, like ate very little. Became really skinny, and he got to the point in his life where he just started to realize, he said that one day he was hanging on a branch or something like that, and he asked himself, why is he fighting so hard, why is he fighting so hard, and why is he like wrestling so much with life? And then he suddenly decided to just let go, and then he was sitting on the tree, under the tree, and one day he was meditating, and then he just became enlightened. I don't know how that happened for him. Then he came back to his, he came back into like real world, and then he was teaching people about, okay, cool, the pathway to enlightenment, right? How to actually get there, where so I don't even know what enlightenment is, but I feel like I kind of have a sense of what it is, And he said that you can't actually be too much in like the spiritual, because he realized that those people who are too much in the woo, like spiritual side of things, they also kind of like they're not there. Whereas people who are too much in the physical, you also can't be too much in the physical. So for me, I really like what you said, because it really like kind of pointed out me like the kind of lifestyle that I want to live. I don't want to live I don't want to live a lifestyle where I'm just like super like fucking but I also want to freedom, right? I also want to be free, kind of like letting like the family and also.
I think that's something really important to what you said about the fire as well. Because one of my things that I am challenged by is the energy management as well. Because yes, I get super fired up, and sometimes it's just kind of like more swoozy, more slow, right? So managing that energy in an effective way to channel it into your purpose, so that you're not just exerting or exuding energy and dissipating away energy into nothingness, but actually like focusing that energy into your purpose, and using that as the power of creation. And so for me, that resonates what you're talking about, just all the fire. Because I get super excited, and then I work, and
then you get burned out.
Myself out.
Exactly, and you don't want to be in a place as well.
Yeah. So my thing is, like, if you consider the 4 elements, and it's not new, they're like whatever is ancient wisdom, I just try to pay attention to, is air and water. I'm just putting here also some reflection. When you talk, you don't breathe much.
Yeah, you're right. I don't, because I'm so fucking excited right now.
Yes, which is fine if you do that for 2 minutes, if you do 5 minutes. But if you do that for a long time, you like air, man. Breathe. And then throw a bullet. But instead of doing like you're like, yeah, that's cool. You're like when you're at war, but we're not at war. It's fine. You have time. Like, there's no rush. There's no final destination to get to. I can't tell you what it is. It's death.
I like that. I like
that. Take your
that.
time to get there. So, and the thing is, and I'm not saying that this attitude, this fire is wrong. I'm just saying, so for a long time, I was always thinking in terms of balance. I would work 8 months and takes 4 months off. But like when I'm saying off is like I don't turn on internet. I'm just like, boom, offline. But it was not sustainable, because then in September or October when I come back, I'm like, so you have to use a lot of energy to take the rocket up again. So now what a very wise friend of mine said, moving from balance to harmony. And balance is like, you go left, you go right, you go left, you go right. and you try to find the center, but you never. Harmony is like, and if you talk about music, is when several notes are playing at the same time.
Yes.
And together
It's
they
a
sound good.
symphony.
I get there. So the harmony is when you can be fire and water and air and earth at the same time with different proportion, but that in every second you make sure that you breathe, that you listen to your emotion, but you have the fire to also make it earth. You know, it's like you try to make sure that you have all four elements, and you choose your timeline. You choose your timeline. If they're like, oh, I've been working like my ass off for 2 or 3 months now. I've been pushing, hustling. Now I'm taking 2 weeks off. I'm not checking my phone.
Yeah.
Or what I've been doing, because I want to go away from my 4-month holiday to have more like build my kingdom, as I was sharing earlier.
Yes.
Practicing nano holidays. So nano holidays is as soon as I feel like, I just I don't have to do a 30 minutes meditation. I just have to do one breath. But I want to feel the exact same state as if I was like laying for 2 weeks on the beach and I'm bored to death and I really want to go back to work. I want to experience that in 30 seconds. That's my nano holidays. To go from the balance to harmony.
Thank you. You saying that just made me realize that you're right, you know. I've been a lot of fire in the last 2 minutes. And right now I'm coming back to center. Breathing deeply and feeling like my fucking core, man. And thank you for that.
And just to finish on that, the challenge is to have all this fire, and we were sharing about that, but in one move. You know, I always have this image of martial arts.
Yes.
You know, do you really think like, do you find
Nope.
I'm powerful right now?
That's how I want to play though.
You know, it's like
like my
I stay still. You stay still, and like the person in front of you is like, oh, I'm not getting close to that person, because the other is like trying to threaten you, and like your stillness, because they know one move, they're on the floor, but you won't ever make that move because you know you can do it.
And this is like striking with purpose also, and this is definitely an area for me where I struggle, because like, okay, yes, we have all this energy, and like I feel this energy when I'm talking about these things, and boom, 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 but when it comes down to the time where it's time to strike, if you use all your energy up and like moving around like a crazy person, which is what I do. Like if you see me play ultimate frisbee, I'm the guy running around like a madman, and that's just how I like to have all this energy. That's what I like to do use it with.
Yeah.
So being able to be the alchemist, to be the shaman, and be the one who like can control that energy. When it's time to strike, boom, you strike with power and force. That's an art
Yeah,
form.
it's interesting too, because like it's just good to bring as many perspectives to this as possible. Multiple perspectives is where wisdom comes from. It's not ever one perspective that's going to give you that wisdom in life. So I do agree with the harmony and that way of thinking. And then I also just look at how, the seasons work on the planet, right?
Yeah.
You have summer, you have spring, you have winter, So there's also times where when he's in his pure fire for a while, that's actually could be great. And you don't need that much. You just go, 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 go. But you also have to be very careful of reflecting on, is it too much? Is it, where's that balance of pushing yourself just past your limit and not pushing yourself enough? Where's that harmony? Because we got to plant these seeds, and then we got to cultivate, and then we start to bring in that harvest. And there's that cycle, the gestation period. And a lot of entrepreneurs, when we're doing this, we have a really hard time because, or people starting out, you're working your ass off, but there's this lag time of results. So you think like, well, I'm putting in all this work, but where's the money and where's this? But that's coming based off of your behaviors, your habits, your network, and all of this. So, anyways.
So
I wanted to bring in that perspective.
I've been thinking a lot about this actual season cycle, and I'm very strong into it. So I broke it down like summer is outward being. You just like you are like that. Then fall is like inward doing. You're like, okay, let's do, and so that you can be in winter in your inward being. You're like meditate. You're more internal. And then spring, you're like outward doing. You're like, okay, planting all the seeds. But this is a very manly cycle, and as much as men is relevant for us.
Yeah.
What I'm sharing is also having the feminine perspective, which is more the lunar cycle. And I think it's the same cycle with these 4 seasons that you were sharing that could match the 4 elements, right? By chance. Could also be implemented in a monthly basis. You have your week in summer where you're also fire, you're fire, and then you can have fire water or fire air in summer. And I have had that, I don't know about you, but I had a week where we did 4 workshops in a row, where we're full fire. The next week I was like, oh, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm just like receiving.
I love it, man.
And then bringing that cycle also to your daily, and I think also you could have that cycle hourly, not as present. Obviously, you're a man, you will have a stronger yearly cycle than monthly cycle. But it's just playing with the whole flow.
And to kind of end on that, right? So for me, I like to make sure that I have a morning routine and a night routine. So my morning routine, every day when I wake up, I make sure that I never check my phone, I never check my emails, my WhatsApp, none of that. The first 30 minutes of the day, I spend meditating, putting myself in the center, getting grounded, and really getting in touch with, okay, what is the best possible person that I can be today? Who is the ideal Gary that I want to be today? And once I kind of like have a sense of that, then the next step is in a way also like, okay, cool. What are the actions that I need to take today to get to where I wanna be? And then at night, what I always like to do is, before I sleep, I actually make sure that I just like, just fucking like let it go of the day, because I realized that for me, there are many times, when I go to sleep with, say for example, like regret. Oh my God, during the day I should have done that. I should have done this, and I might have some, guilt over like something that I've done or something I've not done. So I realized that if I can let it go and put myself in a state of optimal mental clarity at night, I'm gonna wake up feeling a lot more refreshed, a lot more energized. And I realized that in the morning and in the night, it's when you can truly reprogram your subconscious brain to be able to tap into the states of consciousness which you ideally want to be in. Because at night is when your brain waves go from like, I don't know what, some alpha to the theta state, which is where you really reprogram your subconscious brain. So it's really, really important for you guys, if you are listening out there, to have a very strict morning routine and to have a very strict night routine where you're constantly putting yourself in a state which you want to experience. So for example, for me, what I like to do in the past is, before I sleep, just feel my heart and feel the gratitude that you have for the world, feel the gratitude that you have for the world, for your life, for your relationships, for everything that you have in your life. And imagine the future that you want to create, right? Feel your heart, because your heart is where, your heart has 10,000 more neurons than your brain has. So your heart knows more than what you know. Your gut knows a lot more than what you know because of whatever reason, right? So when you get into that space, when you wake up, most of the time you're gonna feel a lot more energized. You're gonna feel really like ready, and you're gonna be in a more like higher state of consciousness. And then in the morning as well, you gotta really take care of your mental health. Put yourself in the state where we wanna ideally be in, because it's gonna result in how you actually feel during the day, and how you actually feel during the day is gonna result in the future that you're gonna create. So yeah, that's just my take on having like a morning routine, night routine, to integrate the feminine and the masculine, right? To integrate to feel like a more like whole human being.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's good. And I like this idea of microcosms as well. It's just I find this to be an area for me personally of challenge for sure. So I really appreciate all your all's kind of perspectives on this. And like one of the elders I hung out with in Thailand, he was talking about just like the cycles of the moon as well. So you also have the moon, the moon goes to its fullness, then back to its emptiness, and that's just like kind of like the symbology of us as human beings within our microcosm are represented all around us. So you can see in the seasons, you can see in the moon, you can see the cycles
rhythms,
of the moon.
Circadian rhythm, ultradian rhythm. There's so many rhythms constantly happening around us.
And we're trying to dance against the rhythm,
Exactly.
Like it looks ugly.
You're so right about this.
It looks ugly.
You're so right, and this is why the two things that I study most are universal law and evolutionary psychology, because I'm trying to align myself with these things, because our brains are already working certain ways, and we can utilize those things to really help us and not be used against us, right? We become the master versus the slave, and then we align with universal law, because there's a lot of laws within the universe that people fight against based off of metaphors, analogies, stories passed down from generation to generation. So, you learn certain things from your parents, so you believe it as truth. Society all believes something, so you believe it as truth. Because enough people all believe in the same thing, it becomes a truth in their minds, but not necessarily a truth in reality. Now, what if we were to go down to base level fundamental physics and ask ourselves if that's a truth or not? well, then that gives us a better foundation to build from. So we go into all these laws like cause and effect and polarity and mentalism, and you start to realize, wow, there are laws to this that are governing. That's why I can go to McDonald's and eat unhealthy food and not exercise, and I get very overweight, versus if I eat healthier foods and exercise, I start getting fit and healthy. So, oh, okay, what are all the other laws that are governing us? How can I learn those? How can I align with them while also speaking about this art of life? Because just because you know the data and you know how things work within like the laws doesn't mean you know how to live artfully. You know, you can actually be very miserable knowing all of that stuff. So how do you align the science with the art of living? So you're like painting and having this flow, this femininity to your way of being versus just A to B, A to B, A to B, which is a lot of us we've been taught as a masculine.
Right.
So, no, I truly believe that the best way to learn is to experience. So now we're talking about bringing some femininity. Maybe I brought that, but in the harmony. But what if we just experience it right now? What if right now, instead of talking about, yeah, let's tune into our intuition, and because there's data that proves that we can tune into our intuition and do it from a feminine approach.
And I agree with that. I've gotten to a point where I feel like I can do it at the same time. So I can tune in and feel it as I talk about it. Or like people say, why are you always doing Instagram stories? Why don't you just be in the now? I'm like, I'm being in the now doing the Instagram story. So it doesn't mean just because I'm
I
doing
like
the
this.
thing
All
where
right.
I'm enjoying this process of recording the moment, and I'm present with it, and I'm actually excited about it. So I'm not just sitting there.
But you're a very present person.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if this is the case for everyone.
It's
and
not.
I know you're like, where
It's
you're
just the
coming
next
from.
level, yeah.
But I'm saying, mean people where they're at. And a lot of people, they don't understand that second part. Because we live in an education, a school that is designed for the brain. Fantastic. It's designed for understanding logics, data. We're in the era where quantity leads, but where at the same time as quantity is going, like with IA and the quantic computers, like we're getting to a point where like the quantities we're reaching are almost infinite. But as we get closer to that infinity, we realize we won't reach infinity by doing additions. So that's why I believe we tune in so much now. We're like, okay, we've sent the car 200,000 million miles an hour to get there.
Yes.
But at the same time, we realize we won't ever get there with that tool.
Yes.
So obviously and I think that's a thought of thinking of the mental or the ego as the most power, like your servant.
Yeah.
Right.
And I truly believe in the power of explaining all these things with data, because it helps to talk to people that are more mental, but also we are all mental.
Yes.
So it talks to my mental part. When I have trips, let's call them that, where I just enter a complete presence, then I go to quantum physics, I go to all this data. But again, we're still talking about it. So what I want to do is right now, and if you're listening or watching this, is take a moment to be. And the best way I know to go to being versus doing, at least the most efficient one, is to slow the fuck down. If you look at all the practices, they're like meditation, breathing, all this, the main thing they take you to do is slow the fuck down. Not because you cannot run fast, as you were sharing, and still be in that presence, but just because it's so much harder to be present when you're running. So
Here's an interesting. I love all these conversations because there's so much nuance, and there's so much nuance to this conversation, and there's so much truth to what you're saying. And then from the other perspective, I remember when I had my first meditation coach, an amazing guy, and he asked me, he's like, when do you feel the most present? Like, one of those times that you feel the most present. And actually he asked me first, like, what do you like to do? Like, and I was like, soccer and these different things. I love it. And I was like, when I'm playing football or playing soccer, I feel the most present because everything else tunes out and I get into my flow state, and I'm just there. I'm not thinking about anything else but being just there.
Nothing else matters in that moment.
It's my form of meditation, which is the running hard and the playing hard and the working hard and the breathing hard and the, you know, going into a tackle where you can like basically just get crushed. So you have to be so present in these moments. But then he was like, yeah, okay, that's when you feel the presence, right? It's like, have you ever thought that you could have that by slowing down? Like you said, do you ever think that you could feel those same feelings by being in flow state in a meditation and just a moment of calmness? Like you said, I'm going to take my mini vacation, or what was it, nano vacation?
Nano.
Can you feel that same thing in there? He's like, the reason why you love the football is because you get to feel presence, and you get to feel that moment of, that's what it is for you, because it's tuning the rest of the world out for that moment. So what you're saying is extremely true, but it takes time to learn to slow down and learn to experience that moment not in boredom. I think a lot of people experience it as boredom.
You know, sorry. I don't think it's boredom. I think it's manifest as boredom.
Yeah.
But what the truth is, because 90% of my job is to bring people there. It's fear.
Oh, absolutely.
When you do, you're like, I'm fine. I'm a doer. I exist because I do. Once you stop doing and you are just being, you're like, who the fuck am I? You start facing this mirror. Like, that's why meditation is scary, because you're alone with your thoughts. And when you're gone with your thoughts, you're alone with your emotions. When you're alone without the emotion, you're alone with nothingness. And that's like, you're like, fuck, I don't exist. Maybe we're going a bit too far right now, but
I find this very fascinating, because like I've been through long meditations where, to the point where I would get claustrophobic in my own mind, because like it's all about that in my natural state of being is that doing. And when I take away that doing and just sit in the presence, my brain just starts going crazy with the doing and the potentiality of doing. And now it's like, okay, what can we do? And it's like boom, 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 boom. So when I have to slow it down, it can be very, very, very challenging, like especially in longer meditations.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sebastian, I really like what you said, because I had multiple experiences in my life where I just realized when you just see yourself for, who you really are, when you experience God, when you experience whatever you call it. And it's interesting, right? Because I realized that so many of us, we do things in the external world to run away from the things which we don't want to see in ourselves, to run away from our fears, to run away from the shit that we're hiding within ourselves. Everything that we do, a lot of the things that we do, we are actually in reaction to the things that we don't want to see in ourselves. And I realized that, once you can actually truly let go. For me, I would say that I'm still not there. I'm not at a place where I am truly, free from all my fears. I still have a lot of fears that I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis. But I kind of have a glimpse of, once we can truly allow ourselves to just be, like you said, and to really sip into the presence, where you're not trying to do anything, you're not trying to be someone, where you truly see yourself for who you really are, the God inside of you, the soul inside of you. It's just fucking bliss, man. It's just fucking peace beyond any dude, I can't fucking... After the ayahuasca retreat, I remember I had this moment where I feel so whole and so complete, and I was just like smiling. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I never felt so happy in my life, and I'm not doing anything. I'm not running away from anything. I'm just here in the present moment, and the bliss is just flowing through my body. I'm like, what is going on? This is really weird. And then I realized that, okay, cool, right now, I'm back in my normal state. How can I unpack every single day? How can I learn the lessons that I need to learn every single day, so that I can reach that state of being when I'm just feeling so fucking, blissful at every single, phase of my life, in every single moment of my life. And I still haven't quite got the answer to how to actually get there yet, but I feel like I'm getting closer every single day, which is what makes me feel happy.
Yeah.
It's random thoughts, man.
Beautiful, and I embrace that. It's a journey. It's not like a boom, you experience it once and you experience it forever. Actually, I truly believe it would be boring.
Yes,
it would
do agree.
Like a part of it is
100%.
A part of the meaning of the experience is the experience. It's like, why life? Because life. Like, what? Because to experience it, to learn and to see it
from so many perspectives and beingness, right?
But now, what I want to challenge you guys with, if you're up for a challenge,
let's go.
Let's do it.
I invited you for a second to slow down. And we kind of like went from 100 to 60, we hit 50, and we're like, okay, let's speed up again. And then we talk again about slowing down. You talk about this experience and your eyes lit up when you're thinking about what you experience in this ayahuasca or after this state. What about right now? What is preventing us from experiencing it right now? Is it because it is recording? And now we're thinking, what if it were silent for 2 minutes? Why not 10 on a podcast and think, this is awesome? There's nothing we have to say to make this awesome. Because now you're using this silence and you're saying to your audience, it is okay. Look, I'm doing it.
So this reminds me of Waking Life. Amazing movie. What we just had there is what they call the holy moment. The holy moment is when you actually stop and be present with each other without the words. And anyone who is listening right now, I'm sure actually felt that holy moment, because they could hear the birds, or they could hear the little bit of things around. They could just be here now without that fire. And now even how my voice is gone, my voice is slowed down to that place versus blah, 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 let's go, right? Which we all have too. It's exciting. It's fun. It's you know, but then
it's learning to play scales of music. And you know, you're a very good heavy metal player if you know how to play classical music, because you can add this thing, which is not just noise, because the fire can become noise. Well-used fire you're a sniper. Boom, everywhere. And I say that, you know, we all speak for ourselves. The reason I'm sharing these things is because I want to become, and I'm on the process of becoming. I'm a speaker. Where I thrive is on the stage or facilitating workshops, and I'm learning and practicing to speak much less.
Listen much more. You know, there's this I don't know why this came up, but there's an amazing YouTube video I saw, and it was in a church, and this guy in the front row was asked to sing a certain song because the preacher said, this guy's voice is amazing, you have to listen to him. The guy gets up to the mic and he starts singing, and there's something missing. Like, his voice is amazing, don't get me wrong, but you're not in rapture by it and present. And then the preacher says, I want you to think of like this moment in your life. What's going on or what's happening? He's like, well, my brother is in prison. I miss him. And he starts like feeling so deep for his brother. He gets so present in the moment. And then he sings that same song. And it comes out of him with soul, and because he got present to that moment, tuned in, and then this just blasted through him, and everyone in the audience, they had tears rolling down their face. They were just, same song, same man, different scale, different vibration, different embodiment, different vibration. Oh my God, it was just incredible. I believe in what you say. If you're just playing heavy metal to play heavy metal, you don't have that scale. What if you bring that classical to that? How can you bring a feminine flow to heavy metal, you know? But you can.
Juan Pablo was all about that. Again, I know all of you love Juan Pablo. He was all, let's go masculine, and then release.
Yes.
So that you can have the power, outer power, inner peace.
I believe in that, absolutely. And this is the art of life, right? There's an art to this. It's not you just get it. There's an embodiment that takes time. It's the journey. And these conversations are amazing because this wasn't just a conversation.
This was a ceremony.
Yeah. For real.
You took part of it in it.
No, exactly. A conversation is just words. You know, this is like a transformational experience for everyone listening, for each one of us, because each one of us learned something, each one of us gathered something more, each one of us embodied something a little bit different.
Yeah, man, and for me this is beautiful because this is also a lot of what I've been working through in the podcast and in regular life, like these energetics and this kind of system of energy maintenance and kind of, yeah. So being able to just discuss this from so many different perspectives is really, really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like, you know, if you really look at the meaning of life, you realize that there's actually no meaning in life. We create the meanings that we want to give to life, right?
Meaning in and of itself is a human created concept.
Exactly.
Well, we are part of the universe, so it's a universal created concept.
It's a woken up human created concept. So it's like
We woke.
we woke up to the fact that we're awake. We're aware that we're aware that we're aware. We're thinking about the fact that we're thinking that we're thinking about not thinking about thinking. You know, you can go wherever you want with it. It's never ending. The levels of layers deep, you can go meta on any topic, on anything. But either way, it's just us waking up to what already is. You know,
And what do you think what we already is?
Possibilities.
Infinite possibilities.
Literally infinite. Within the laws of the universe, everything is infinite. And maybe beyond that. But we don't know that at this point.
I feel like asking you something I've been asking a lot of people, and it's just very simple. Actually, the exercise is simple, but the practice
Yeah.
is, what is life for you in one word? And I'll be more specific, you know, and just like, if you had to describe, life is an iced tea can, then maybe you have to explain why you mean that. But you know, what is, like, don't say life is good, life is beautiful. What is, in one object or one concept, life for you?
You know, I really like the question because that's a question that I've been asking myself. Because once you get to the root of that, you get into everything that you are. You get into how you actually experience life at the most core level. And that's a very good question. So why don't you start with for you first, Gavin? Because I'm still kind of like,
So
as you asked, just kind of figuring it in my head.
So there's two things that will always come into my mind with this, and I was talking about one of them yesterday, which is anytime in school when I was kind of asked a question like that, my brain would immediately go to anything outside of it. I'd be like wanting to question the question of the question, right? Because the question in and of itself, to me, like, is unanswerable. However, if I were to talk about it just from a standpoint of one word that I would use, is I would just say evolution.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's just a never-ending process. It
And I
started
don't-
off in one place at one point, and it just keeps evolving. Somehow the laws were set up from whoever set it up or whatever happened, and we're just going to keep moving. Whether this is the simulation where all we're doing is evolving as fast as possible so the machine can collect as much data as it can possibly collect, which is more likely what it is than anything else, then so be it. But evolution is not going to stop within this universe.
Yeah, play. I think play is the word that I would go to, just because at the end of the day, it's what everything is. It is the game of evolution, the game of growth. And as you guys said before, like, about if everything were so easy, it'd be meaningless, or it wouldn't be fun, because, and I had this experience before in the plant medicine journey also, where I kind of saw how everything would be if everything were easy, and just if you could access everything you wanted to access right then without any resistance at all, it would make everything pointless and boring. So it's just this game of growing and learning and purging and growing again in these cycles and in these spirals, just upwards and upwards and upwards towards our evolution.
What about you, Sabrina?
Go for it.
Because I'm still kind of like figuring out.
Okay. So two things very interestingly is I used for a long time to say life is a game. It's just a game, you know. You it's like Mario Bros. And you try the first time, you fall. If you remember the first level of Mario Bros. 1, maybe you're too young to have played that one.
I played it.
But it's like you fall. The first thing you do when you play Mario Bros. Actually, no. The first there are bricks and you get onto this kind of strange mushroom and you die. And you play again. And you play again. And it's fun. If you win the first time, then the game was boring.
Yeah, it's
if you
another
lose
level.
all the time, the game is not interesting. It's finding the right balance between the challenge and the enjoyment. But I'm kind of moved away from that definition, even though I live by that concept, to the concept of a dance.
Of what?
A dance, which is closer to what you're saying. It's like particles and galaxies and couples and nations. They just dance. I just see a dance of dancing and moving, and I see it. I really see it multidimensionally in my mind. One thing is, I speak 12 languages. I'm obsessed with languages.
Yeah.
And when I think of languages, I just see them in space and time evolving and dancing and blending.
It gives you such an amazing perspective to be able to see from all these.
So I have this dance. But when you said evolution, something in me said, And then it made me reflect on my dance. So I would say on these two things, dance dance/evolution, which because I think we relate on our game, which is the way you relate to the dance. The game is how we live life. The dance is how I observe life. You know, it's just movement. I don't judge it. But that was the first thing that came to my mind is like, this is a very time-oriented perspective. You know, like because we experience life through a timeline, we feel we're going through a timeline. We see a dance, we see an evolution. But I feel like, what if it was just a painting that included all timeline? And it's something new that just popped in my mind when you were sharing that. Is like, what if I would remove myself from the timeline? And I had actually this vision and I passed on after that. But I think you guys would love that. So I was at this festival and this girl said, randomly we were talking about Matrix and all that, and she said, I think life is beyond space and time. And when she said it, I felt like she's just saying words. She doesn't know what she means. But not to judge, she didn't mean to the depth that I think what that means. Because I instantly saw it. I was reading Stephen Hawking, A Brief History of Space and Time. And that made sense to me. I saw death. Just for like, when she said that, I saw death. And it looked like a giant DVD. It's like the idea of, if it's beyond space and time, that means it has no space, no time. Or it has all spaces, all time. So it has the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie. Are you still following me on that? So it's a DVD. A DVD, you collapse a timeline. You actually collapse 3 dimensions. 2, like that, the image, and the time. So you have 3 dimensions collapsed into one line that is circling around the DVD. And so what I saw was like all dimensions together, where the time was collapsed into one still image, which is the Big Bang, the Big Crunch, or whatever, or the all dimension, and I saw that. It was very brief, but I felt like, so for me, if I had to say that now, I said life is just giant DVD. It's all space and time. If you know how to look at it, like through the perspective of a human being, you see the timeline, but it's just one way of looking at the DVD.
Yeah.
So it's
almost impossible to explain with words, though. What you're saying, you know?
It's not.
Yeah.
The game is to try.
Yes, exactly.
You know, I was looking at all you guys.
To try, I love that. Okay.
You know, I was looking at all you guys' different perspective, and I was reflecting on mine, and I came to realize that I don't have a fixed perspective on life, because I came to realize that life is whatever you make it to be. Life is a play. Life is evolution.
What's the most empowering way to look at it? What's the most enjoyable way to look at it?
Exactly. So I came to realize in the point in my life that, you know, every perspective is true and everyone is 100% right. There's literally no...
Just high five to that.
But it's which perspective is gonna be the one that makes you feel the most fulfilled, the most happy. And once you have that perspective, what's the next perspective that's gonna make you get to the other stage where you're happy, where you're more fulfilled? And even by me saying right now, it's a perspective that I have from a perspective that I have, you know, it's so fucking like mind-boggling. And I feel like life is just whatever you make it to be, you know. You can think that some enlightened beings, you know, they are up there in the mountains. They say that life is a dream. Juan Pablo, is that his name? The man who... Life is a cosmic joke. That's what he says all the time, and I believe that's what he believes on a very deep level. Life is a cosmic joke for him, and that's how he experiences everything. For some people, life is hustling, life is business, life is taking it to the next level, life is evolution. But I realized that life is whatever you choose to make it to be at the current phase of your life that you're in. You can choose to have any perspective of what life is.
So would then just life be choice?
Wow, I like that, man. Yeah, I kind of like that, man. Life is choice.
So I bring
Yeah, life is a choice. I can choose to leave right now if I want to. I can choose to go back.
It's so interesting, right? Because people will say like, "Oh, the world's doing this to me," or "I'm like the victim of this," or "I'm the victim of that." But at the end of the day, we always get to choose our perspective, like no matter what situation is happening.
So, the image I have, and that's actually my core values, where you started sharing about your core values, is imagine we're all sitting in a circle, or standing, it doesn't matter, and at the center there's a fire. Okay? That's an image, tribal image we all can all relate to. So now let's imagine that the center, the fire, is the whole universe. Okay? And the strange part of this fire, we're sitting in the fire, and we are the fire.
We are about 1 minute.
But let's stick to the idea that we're all sitting around the fire, to make it simple. And we all have a slightly different perspective on that fire. As human beings, that's exactly what it is. We see reality, life, the universe, however you want to call it. I don't care if this is stimulation. This is part of reality, even of the greater reality. So what we have from our perspective, is we see life through our senses, but from just one space-time point. You see it from here now, from here, this position, based on also your timeline and all the evolution that brought to who you are today. So this unique perspective on this fire, which is very multidimensional, and when I say multidimensional, I'm just saying, like, there's the time, but there's the time of your family, all these things that I was sharing as the languages, they mix, they blend. There's the dimension of ideas, all this. We all look at the fire. And life, for me, is about just looking at the fire. Let's look at the fire from different perspectives. And because we're curious, and I believe the universe is curious, and we cannot go much around the circle because it's a very big fucking circle. It's like the fire, like you cannot go around the universe. The only way to gain perspective on what this fire is by asking others. What is your perspective on the fire? What is your perspective in the fire? And not only humans, please be aware, ask a plant. I'm not saying that you will reply in plain English language. I'm just saying, what if I was a plant right now? How would I feel? Like, be a tree. For me, the tree is a very hard one because you can't move. I'm a fucking nomad. So embracing the perspective on the tree of like, I will live my entire life where I was planted, where my seed fell.
Where my seed fell, and now I'm going to serve the world.
From here, no need to move.
And we get to breathe that in every moment because that tree decided, I'm going to go right here. Or not even decided. Surrendered to it.
Fucking trees, man.
Yeah. And there's so many perspectives, there's we have our perspective right now. And there's also fishes in the ocean that have their fish perspective. They're like, oh man, this is the ocean, it's everything that ever is, just swimming in there.
And it is true.
It is 100% true. There's nothing wrong, And that's the scary part, It's like, oh my God, life is literally whatever you choose to make it to be. You literally have a choice right now. You're listening to this. You have a choice. If right now you're in a place in your life where you feel like you're unhappy, realize that you actually chose it. On an unconscious level, you actually chose this for your life because you chose to react to your life situation in a certain way, right? Get out of it, man. If you're unhappy right now, realize that you chose your life and take full responsibility and ownership of it. And get out of there, man. You don't have to be depressed. You don't have to be unhappy.
Man. So there's a river. Life is your navigation down a river. and you're faced with different options within this river. You have to go with the flow of the river, but maybe there's a fork in the flow. You have to decide which route to take. And this is all that I consider like the game of life to be. It's just this constant flow. You face your fears. You have the fears come up. You can choose to go through the fear with bravery. You can choose to, and bravery is not a trait in itself. It's just persistence in the face of fear. So when fear presents itself, you can choose the brave path to continue moving forwards through your fears towards your end goal, or you can take a break and not go through it. Maybe you're not ready to face that fear yet. And I think when that happens, and I think how people achieve so much is just by taking that option to go through the fear as much as possible. And maybe, and I've had periods in my life where I've ran away from the fear many, many times.
Yes.
And I think that then I just take another side route that's going to bring me through another state of evolution, that's going to grow me and adapt me, and then I'll face that fear again, and hopefully this time I can go through it with bravery. And I think the way to achieve so much, like you're 19 years old, Gary, if you continue on the path that you're going and just face those fears head on, like I know you will, the amount that you can achieve in your life is infinite. It's so much. Just because it's just, all it is just, you're going to go with the flow, and life will present itself to you. And I was talking to a friend yesterday about the same thing, and I asked him how he achieved so much from such a young age. He said it was a bit of luck, and I was like, dude, I don't think it's luck. Because life will present you with synchronicities and obstacles and options, and you just have that ability to take that as you can to push through that kind of fear.
100% agree.
I heard the best definition of luck that I embrace fully, and I feel myself very lucky. Luck is when opportunity meets preparation.
Yep.
Luck is when opportunity meets preparation.
Yeah,
So-
my aunt used to tell me that, man. I love that.
So it's like, get prepared. And that's why visualization are work. It's because you've rehearsed a situation, so when it, and I did that this morning. Just like, let's bring numbers, let's be masculine, I'll bring that now.
Yes.
You know, sales. So this morning I was facilitating a workshop about raising your fees, 10x your fees. I went in a year from 35 euros an hour to over 500 euros an hour, 1 year.
Yeah.
And I'm still on the progress, I'm aiming for 5,000, now I'm saying that aloud. I'm aiming for 5,000 in a year's time,
Yes.
an hour. But the thing is, and I would let people to do that, is, okay, what is the most uncomfortable price you can say that you can still believe? Let's say, don't say like, if you're charging for 100, don't say 10,000 euros an hour. You don't believe it. You wish, but you don't believe it. So you cannot tell it to me when I believe you. And then I was telling people, okay, now sell it to me. Whatever the price is, make your offer. And I was pushing them to the point where they believed it. Because once they, and like, sense it, I don't believe you. Either you change your price or you change your inner feeling. It's fine. You choose how far
Where's
you can
the
go.
congruence?
I don't want to push you to go to
Believability.
something that is irrelevant. I'm just saying, if you're charging, and let me make it round, if you're charging 100 euros an hour now, good. You can really charge 100 too, right? That's like, so let's try 120. How do you feel? And I feel like there's not much challenge. Then I would say 500, and you're like, you feel the person shrinking. They're like, a part of them is like, I wish, but they're shrinking. So get to something you rehearse, and that's what I was doing this morning, and I invite everyone to do it. Like, if you have sales, rehearse your calls, tell about it. I'm projecting myself to 5,000 euros an hour by telling you listening, by telling you watching, because I'm projecting myself. The moment I will say that to a client or say, that's my price, I will have done it 50,000 times, and it will feel like, actually, I'm too cheap.
Yeah. I want to take one perspective on this because I love what you broke down there. It's really, really intelligent perspective. Richard Dawkins has this quote, which is, survival machines who learn through simulation are always one jump ahead of survival machines who only learn through overt trial and error. Meaning, those who hop in the flight simulator are a heck of a lot farther than the pilot who jumps in the plane for the first time and crashes and dies, because they can practice over and over. You can do the flight simulator for sales, and you can master it and embody it and all of it by the time you get on your call. The preparation meets opportunity, right? And then I'd bring in a little bit of a different perspective to the luck, because I believe in luck, but my definition of luck is just probability. There's a probabilistic chance X can happen, but here's the situation. This is why the probability meets opportunity is actually the truth, because you can win the lottery without preparation and without being ready for it. What happens to the majority of people who aren't ready to win the lottery?
Squander that shit.
They lose it all, but not only that, they get super high off of the win. They haven't worked on themselves. They haven't become the type of person who can handle that money. So not only do they not know how to handle it, they lose it all and end up in a worse situation than they were before. But it was lucky, right? Actually, that was unlucky to win the lottery, right? So the preparation meets opportunity is, yes, the probability of these things happening are all there, and that can be luck. But based off of where you are and where something meets you, that's where the opportunity is. So you don't want the money to come too fast in that situation if you're not ready for it, because now you've actually ruined your life more. But if you've been building yourself and you've built it over time, now you can handle that luck of that money coming, because now you have prepared for that opportunity.
And I love how visualization ties in this as well, because I haven't taken that into practice as much as I could, and I'm going to now. But it reminds me when I was like, for all the like super grounded people out there, is like visualization, what kind of nonsense is that? When I was a kid playing baseball, like Little League Baseball, they'd always say, you know, just imagine the ball's hit to you, and what are you gonna do? And know exactly what you're gonna do if the ball's hit to you. That's visualization, right? You're preparing, you're looking at it, saying, okay, the ball's gonna come to me, what do I do? There's somebody on first base, okay, so I'll throw it to second base, I'll do this. You know exactly what you're gonna do beforehand, so you're mentally prepared when these opportunities present themselves, and you already know the possibilities that you're presented with, you know exactly what you'll do. I think that's just kind of a beautiful way to...
Yes.
And to kind of break it down, if you guys are actually wondering what's the science behind it, it's because our unconscious mind or the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's imagined in the head and what's actually real outside in the external reality. So whatever you actually really believe in your head and you really imagine it to be actually real, you actually experience it as a reality, right? Because your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference. That's why visualization works so well, and that's why it can actually help you get tangible and, you know, like real results in your life.
Yeah. I'll bring the woohoo here.
I love it.
All right,
yes, please. Let's do it, man.
Yeah, great. You know, I that's great, and that's very important standpoint. But I will take that further. What happens is when your brain starts believing this is true and happening, you just start feeling it.
Yes.
So a part of you starts creating the feeling. So now let's call this feeling a note. You know, you have the note for anger, you have the note for joy, you have the note for despair, you have a note for whatever. What happens is, because of the visualization, if you do it well, and a lot of people just visualize but they don't go into feeling what it would feel, because we don't want a car, we don't want a house, we don't want to have a successful business. We want to have the feeling that it provides.
I like that. I agree with you on that.
So once you create the feelings, once you type in the visualization and you create that thing, you go to the feeling, you're like, is it really the feeling I want? That's the first step, because sometimes we're trying to go in detours instead of going straight to the feeling we want. And then we're feeling. Now I'm feeling whatever this image, whatever this visualization leads me to. That's why I bring people to 100-year vision. I want you to have a visualization that goes beyond your lifetime, to make sure that you're not focusing on meaningless goals.
Yes.
And you go for the real feeling you want to have.
Of course. Yeah.
So now you're having this feeling, and you let it take over. You know, and if you do it well, you let it take over. You're like to your tips of your fingers and toes, and you realize you're experiencing what you want to have in the future right now.
And then you can imagine.
That is time traveling. Okay?
Yeah.
So now you feel it as if you were there, but you're feeling it now. Let's say this is a C, you know, like in a music note. Yeah, like these. For me, it's inner peace. When I go very far in my visualization, I don't care about success. I don't care about anything. If anything in my future doesn't bring me inner peace, I'm still in the process of finding inner peace. So now I find inner peace. What happens? I'm starting to pay attention to what does inner peace sounds like? What does it feels like? What does it look like? Because I've been starting to pay attention in what it feels inside. So if a situation provides me inner peace, I will like start singing that note. These notes will start resonating, and now we kind of go back to physics. You know, you have, if there's a guitar there and I'm singing a perfect A, the A string will start moving. This is not magic, this is basic resonance. But imagine inside of you, you have a string for inner peace. And you know, because of the visualization, you now know what it sounds like. And I'm putting double quote here on sounding. It feels, it looks like. Now something next to you starts sounding like inner peace. You're like, oh, where does that come from? And this inner peace starts moving. That's why here, at a place like Mindvalley, also the energy is higher, because you have a lot of people that resonate higher, shine higher their notes. You have Juan Pablo, he has a lot of inner peace, but it shines also some other notes very strongly. So if you are attracted by that note, you're like, I need to talk to that guy.
Yes.
And you start not deciding. I actually don't believe in free will, but that's another topic. You let yourself be pulled by your vision, by that feeling, because you know where, you're like, let go. Set the vision, you're like, you're the captain of the boat, you just say, we're going that way, and then you sit down and see if the wind takes you there. You relax.
Yeah.
And then you can be, you don't have to do.
And that's such an interesting conversation with the free will, because neuroscientifically I agree, because it's proven. However, I still don't know what that actually means yet. So I still don't know what level of that is actually truth. But it's such an interesting
So the way I say it is, I don't believe in free will, but I live my everyday life experiencing it.
Yes.
Love it.
It's beautiful. So I want to just, I love what you said about the subconscious and conscious, because, in the Matrix, Morpheus is like, if you're talking about real, you're talking about the feelings and the experiences and the sounds and all of that, you're just talking about electrical signals being interpreted by your brain, which in visualization will be the exact same as in reality. And when you're talking about that guitar and that note and being able to experience that resonance on the inside through visualization, well, now you can experience that real, all those feelings in your mind, so you can become that resonance and live that resonance, and then start to attract all those circumstances based off of that. Because the real in your mind is just as real as the now, and you can create it. And then you have that quantum understanding, which is you have infinite possibilities in this infinite illusion of what you want to resonate and what feels deep in your heart, soul, and gut. How can you resonate to that with harmony, like you were talking about, so you actually emit those frequencies to the world? And then what happens? 3 months ago I said, I saw Juan Pablo, I'm going to meet this guy. I want to, this is someone I really want to learn from. Show up at Mindvalley, you didn't know he was here. Juan Pablo's here. What do I say? I start visualizing myself interviewing him in the Coliseum. So I start resonating at a certain frequency that's going to match his frequency. Then I keep seeing him over and over. He resonates with me. I resonate with him because I've been embodying this. And then I do the podcast interview in the Coliseum with him yesterday. Because of the visualization process is resonating at that. He literally said that to me. It wasn't that you asked me to do the podcast. It was how you were resonating when we spoke. That's why I said yes to this. So powerful.
It's all vibration and frequency.
And we can match this in our minds. I love everything you said about the street. This is the science behind it. It's amazing. But that's where the free will conversation comes in, and that's where I really get tripped out. Why do we get so drawn to certain things? Why do we feel that experience, or what people call confabulation? We experience the decision subconsciously, and then we consciously become aware of the decision, and then we confabulate a story of why we made a logical decision. So we're just telling ourselves a story, so we feel like we're in control of our decisions.
But I feel like at the end of the day, to make you guys kind of like feel better about your life is, do not believe in everything that we just spoke about, because at the end of the day, what really matters to you is how you feel about what we said. If what we said made you feel depressed, then you gotta kind of ask yourself, what would you rather believe to be true? Because right now, everything that we say is coming from our subjective truth, right? Nobody actually knows like what the fuck is going on in this like fucking planet. We are just like acting like we know. We don't fucking know shit,
maybe
man.
It's the resonation station. You listen in, you see what resonates with you.
Exactly. If it doesn't help you, if you feel depressed because you're like, oh my god, what if I don't have control of my life? Is it like the Matrix? Is it like I have something else controlling me?
I got a question about this. So, objective subjectivity. Like, I live as if I know a lot of objective truths, because then it grounds me in the ability to take action. Do I? there's a possibility I know absolutely not. However, I know like I can keep dropping this over and over and it's going to keep falling, right?
He's talking about his phone yet.
You know, I'm talking about my phone, dropping my phone. It's going to keep landing on the ground. And there's certain things that we learn, they become predictable, that you can like do over and over. Regardless whether you think this is going to drop or not, it's still going to drop. You know what I'm saying? We can all have a different perspective whether it's going to drop, but the one person who's like, no, it's not going to drop is objectively wrong.
But there's a collective perspective that make reality as it is. I don't know if that makes sense. It's a collective perspective of like, you know, okay, cool, this is how
or
things
is
will
it
go.
just how it is? That's the question.
Yeah,
This is why
guys.
I'm always asking myself philosophically.
Guys, we're gonna have to leave this one on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's a good time to leave it.
Yes, man, what a
This is
dope
my fucking,
conversation,
man.
boys.
Yeah.
This is the best pop-up podcast
it,
in
man.
all of pop-up podcasts. So that was awesome, man. One thing that we're gonna have to do before we all leave is I want to do like a mastermind like this for a podcast about how we're going to impact the world collectively with our tribe and how we can see these things moving forward with the syndicate. And I want to really mastermind on this on the podcast. We can have this conversation before we all go.
What's the name of your podcast?
The Gavin Dantez Show, Freedom Warriors.
Freedom Warriors, baby. First episode in the Coliseum with Wampa.
What is your YouTube channel?
Into the mic, bro. Into the mic, bro.
Gary Lim, YouTube.
Don't yell at
Search
that,
for
man.
Gary Lim, and you get the advice that you need if you're a millennial and you're thinking of running an online business, running an online e-commerce business. You want to travel the world. Yeah, got all the tools for
you
you,
want some
man.
step-by-steps about how to do e-commerce stuff. Gary Lim's the
Exactly.
guy to talk to.
And to help
Also
you
in a very
become
holistic way.
stronger and to help you become more fulfilled in your journey in your life every single day, right? That's what I do. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, mine is Nuggets of Wisdom. I don't publish often because Nuggets of Wisdom don't come to every day. But I think this could be co-shared in
Yes.
all our podcasts.
I really believe in that, and I'll definitely
You know,
do it.
I think there were a lot of nuggets of wisdom in the conversation.
Love it.
There was a lot for Gavin, Dantez, what's the name?
Freedom Warriors.
Freedom
Yeah.
Warrior. Whoa. Yeah, there's like for everyone, and you know, there's no, and I think it's important. Just on the side note, is none of things belong to anyone here. If we can't have this conversation, it's because we're just inheriting conversation and wisdom, information, perspective from billions of years of evolution. You know, if it was not for the Big Bang, we would not be having. So watch this on Big Bang podcast. I don't know where it is published, but if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's as Gary was sharing. It's just like take whatever resonates and spread it forward. You know, shine whatever you take in, and I want, that's how I end all my podcasts, and I want maybe to bring that is, don't listen to that. I don't care if you listen to this. I care if you act upon it. How can you make your life better? By listening and embodying. I don't care if you listen. I want you to embody. I don't want you to meditate. I don't care about people who meditate. I want to see people that look like they meditate, even if they've never meditated in their life.
They're embodying it.
I want you to shine whatever you can take from that, whatever nugget of wisdom you can take from this conversation. I want you to shine it out, whether it's slowing down or changing the perspective on free will. Whatever you take out from this, shine it out, because other people need you to shine it out for them. So it's your responsibility. Go out and shine.
Yeah.
Like a bright nugget.
Yeah, I love it. And remember that that's like kind of like sentence. Your beliefs create your reality, and just take whatever is true and whatever is gonna help you. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one.
Yep.
See you, bye. Bum.
All right, peace out, fam. If you're fired up right now and you want to join the tribe, reach out to us, man. We're taking some interns. We got we're growing the tribe. So if you're fired right now, you're listening to the end of this, hit us up. We're out here.